Do you know when you change your job, it's probably one of the most common times that people will then lose track of their retirement accounts? For this Financial Friday with Bill Levitt, we're going to talk about what happens to your 401k when you change your job. Hey, Bill, how are you?
I'm great, Melissa. How are you this morning?
Oh, I am great, Bill. Thank you so much. And we are talking to Bill from Bridge Life Financial Advisors, by the way. And Bill, I absolutely have been that person. I changed jobs a lot in my 20s from different television stations and whatnot. And this was easily the thing I did the most, which was lose track of where in the world I am with my 401ks and everything like that. So I am really glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, I think it's an important topic when you're changing jobs. You're thinking a lot of things, right, Melissa? Right. Sometimes you're not thinking about your retirement savings, and what do you do? What do you do with that 401k when you've made this important transition from one position to another, from one company to another?
Yeah, and actually, you said that there are typically 5 main options when it comes to an old 401k. What are they?
Yeah, people have a lot of options. They should know what those options are. Make sure they determine which one is the best fit for them. But we'll go through them. And so first of all, you can leave your 401k with your former employer. That's definitely an option. But you have to make sure you're paying attention to what's going on with it back at the old employer. Understand the changes that are being made. Make sure you're watching it, and so that's an option. The other option is that when you move to a new employer and if they offer a 401k, you can roll your old 401k into the new one. So you're kind of combining your 401ks together. That's also an option too. Right? The third thing that one can do when they're changing jobs and determining what to do with their 401k is they can roll it over outside of there into a self-directed IRA somewhere else, which they either can watch or monitor or have a financial advisor, manage and be part of their overall financial planning. So
that's like rolling it into a traditional IRA.
Rolling into traditional IRA outside, and that's an option too. The other thing they can do is they could cash it out. Now I don't recommend that, but it's an option, and so I have to throw it on the table. That's usually pretty expensive. It's very tax, costly, and there's definitely penalties if you're under 59 and a half. But we can always look at that too.
Okay, so it is an option, but cashing out, you said, is usually the most expensive option, especially because taxes are owed immediately on that and several other reasons. What about the traditional IRA rollover, though? What do you think about that?
Well, that's an option. And if you have a 401k, and 401ks are excellent in many ways. They give you the ability to be able to save. You have employers that make matching contributions. They give you some tools to make projections on what retirement looks like. But traditional 401ks typically, and not all of them, limit your capacity to have investment options. And so some of them have gotten better at offering more. Sometimes people don't really understand what options to pick, how to manage their 401k. How do I decide what investments to put my 401k in? And so lots of times people kind of willy-nilly it a little bit. But an option there is for you to roll it out into an IRA account, and then either you're looking at how to manage it on your own, or you have a financial advisor help you do it. All right, yeah. And that there's a benefit there because you can then incorporate that into financial planning that you're doing, on the outside as a whole holistic process, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of having a financial planner like Bridge Life Financial Advisors. That's who we use. I always think of it as kind of peace of mind. It's like when we plan a trip somewhere, we use a travel agent. It's like that. I mean, to me, I think if you really want to get the best bang for your buck and you want to make sure that you get to all the places you want and you tailor a trip to how you want it to be and you're going to invest in it, I say you have an expert do it. And to me, that's the same thing with handling your retirement. I mean, I don't know the financial ins and outs the way that a Bill Levitt would. So to me, that this is a prime example of where I think a financial advisor is super helpful. And so for Financial Friday, we are talking about what happens when your 401k, when you change jobs, what happens to your 401k. You had mentioned before, Bill, that you could roll it into a traditional IRA. You could also convert some or all of it into a Roth IRA. And I know some people will do that, kind of put part of their retirement savings into a Roth IRA. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, as time goes by, the capacity to be able to put your money into a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, and we're going to talk about Roth 401k, is where a portion of that contribution is going to the Roth is now a tax-free bucket. Now you're going to pay tax when it's coming in, but it's tax-free, for the future, definitely when a retirement age. And so it's a good idea to ask your employer if you have a Roth 401k option and make contributions to it. Now, if you're leaving a job and you're trying to decide what to happen with your 401k, of the options that we choose, one of the things that you can do is you certainly could roll that into your new 401k if you have a new 401k, or if you have an existing one, you could do both of what I'm about to say, and that is to convert a portion of your current 401k plan over to the Roth. Now, there's a taxable event to do that, but all that money is now tax-free for the rest of your life, and certainly there's some benefits for legacy purposes and reducing taxes in retirement. So there's a lot of benefits in terms of making sure you have some of your money somewhere that is going to be tax-free. Instead of having a tax-deferred retirement, I always try to get people to have a tax-free as much as possible retirement.
Bill, what would you say is a common mistake people make when it comes to handling this?
Well, I think one of the things that people do is they sometimes either leave the 401k with the previous employer, or they end up with multiple 401ks that from previous employers, Melissa, that they're kind of losing coordination on.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not consolidating the accounts to kind of simplify their investment management, overall retirement planning, making sure they're tracking their beneficiaries. That's important. You want to make sure you're beneficiaries. So it's kind of, you have these accounts in different places, your 401ks in different places that aren't all working together to achieve the bigger common goal, unified, if you will, for the future. So that's something that we see people do.
Yeah, I think that is what I did. Until you fix it, I think I had like 3 401ks at different places, and you're like, what are we doing here? So, consolidating the accounts. And part of that, honestly, Bill, to your earlier point, is that to me, it was not top of mind. You're also talking about, I was in my 20s, and there's a lot of other things going on, getting married, having a kid. And to me, I'm like, retirement is so far away. So you can understand why this does happen. I'm trying to give myself a little grace here, but I do think, it leads to the importance of having that conversation with a financial advisor.
Well, I think so. It does. And, you want to be a good steward of paying attention to all the possibilities that you can have when it comes to your retirement savings, because one, you don't want to make any mistakes. Two, you want to make sure you accumulate what you need, and you're doing everything you can to prepare yourself for that phase in life. Mm-hmm. And certainly the 401k is one of the biggest places that people save money. Mm-hmm. So you want to really be on it. You want to be a good steward of it, and make sure that you understand all your options.
Yeah, certainly. And depending on your age, that also is important to think about. If you're 55 or older and you're leaving your job, there could be special withdrawal rules for your 401k that differ from an IRA. There's also beneficiary designations that you can review after a job change. So, Bill, if people want to sit down and talk to you and your team at Bridge Life Financial Advisors about this, what's the best way to reach you? What do you suggest they do?
Yeah, if you're in a situation where you're changing jobs, I think it's a perfect time to revisit your retirement strategy. Understand your overall rollover options, and determine whether the tools that we're talking about may fit into a better long-term plan. And so, if people are in that particular situation and they want to connect with someone, we certainly could to do that. They can go up to our website at bridgelightadvisors.com and connect with us.
Bill, I appreciate you and your entire team at Bridge Life Financial Advisors. Thank you so much for our Financial Friday. Appreciate it.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Melissa.
You too, Bill. Appreciate you.